Welcome to the Release Your Blocks podcast. I am your host, Victoria Bond. I am a spiritual empowerment coach. I help teach others to show up to their potency so they can fulfill their mission here on earth. I am so glad you are here. And if you are interested in becoming a medium, if you're interested in becoming a life coach, or if you're interested in shifting your life from the 3D to live more in the 5D reality, then check me out, book a clarity call, and let's get chatting.
Hey guys, so I thought I would do a bonus live today to talk about something that I had an awareness of in the weekend. So the first thing I want to tell you is that there is no destination, okay? So many people say, look, when is this going to get easier? When is everything just going to align? I'm going to know my purpose and know my mission, and it's just, we're going to get to that spot. It's just like, when you're 20 and you're like, when I get to 30 and I've got the money and the picket fence, or when I find the man, or when I have the child, or when I get the job or the promotion, everything is going to be great. And yes, it is great, but if you're functioning from the external, then of course it's going to be short-lived. And that's why we see this insanity in our day-to-day lives when people are literally going, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? I think I'm going to get some more pillows for this, and I'm going to change this, I'm going to change it, I'm going to change this. And they get obsessed with the external filling their cup up, right? But the truth is, that is insanity. If we are functioning from the mind and what the next thing is to make us happy, it is insane, because you and I both know it comes from within. But I wanted to share this insane story with you because, as you guys know, time is not linear. Time is not linear at all. It's called quantum physics, right? So it's we are constantly functioning from points of views and judgments and considerations that have happened all of the time before now. Not what's happening now. If we are actually functioning from what's happening now and we were present entirely with what we were doing, then we'd know that everything was okay. Even if the biggest thing was happening, someone was having a heart attack or there was a car accident, if we were present in that moment, we'd be right, okay, we're calm, what do? We've got to do something about this. We're going to ring 911, we're going to go make sure those people are okay, da-da-da-da. Now, if people start going to panic and freak out, it's because they're thinking, what is the next thing? So they're actually going to the future straight away rather than coming to the now and going, what is happening? So I ask you, are you a freak out person about the future? Are you sitting in the past thinking about what happened in the past, so that is surely going to affect now? Or are you really good at coming back into the present and going, right, okay, what is appropriate now? What do we require to do right now? What is the best thing I can do? Because that there is sanity. Insanity is functioning from the past that no longer exists. Now, like I said, time is not linear, so we can go backwards and we can go back forward and all of these different things. I get that, but it's insane to live from the past. When your mind is in insanity, it is because it's trying to function from everything apart from the sanity, which is the present moment, right? So, guys, notifications are coming up on my phone. So, insanity. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about insanity. Now, I went away on the weekend, so I required a bit of a break. I had a little bit of a burnout because I love working, and being a projector, I can only work about 3 hours a day, high quality, kind of strong projector vibes. And I hadn't done that. I probably worked, I don't know, maybe 30 hours, which sounds crazy to some people, but for me, I just can't cope with intense energy work for that amount of time. And so I decided, I'm going to treat myself and go away and just completely just not look at my phone, not do anything, and just have a total break from social media. So I went out and I thought, okay, yeah, how much will it cost to go away? Maybe $1,000 max if you go away and you got your motels and you got your dinners and your petrol and, a little bit of shopping. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do that. Which is still kind of feels a little bit wonky to me sometimes because I'm when I go back to my past, before like maybe a year ago, like before that, the scarcity of living the week by week and what should I spend my money on and what can't I spend my money on and what's a priority, right? Like it's life. Like what is a priority to spend my money on? Because clearly there's some things that are really important. And so that creeps in. Do I deserve to go away and stay in a motel? Do I deserve to eat beautiful food from beautiful restaurants, or should I be, buying bread and milk and stuff and having it at the motel? Should I be going and spending money on myself? Like, oh, okay. So then I had to sit there and coach myself, because the insanity of the past was creeping into the future, into the present, and then of course it's going to affect the future if I let it. Again, time is not linear, but we require to function from the present and notice where we're going back into the past or feeling anxiety into the future. So I was sitting there and I was like, oh, okay, so I know that I deserve a breakaway because I worked and served people when I need to serve myself. I know I deserve clothes and food and delicious things, and I know I deserve all these things. But then I was like, okay, so my head is saying this, but what is my body saying? And my body felt a little bit funny. Like I felt like a bit of a block, mainly actually in here when I think about it. And I was like, what is this? And I didn't have the confidence to go, you know what? I'm worthy of spending like $2,000 or $3,000 just because I woke up and I served. Just because I'm alive. I'm worthy of doing it just because. But I was thinking, why do I deserve this? And even in this live, you've heard me say, because I've been serving others, because I'm still working through it. I'm still journaling it out. I've actually got my journal here. I'm doing a podcast on it. I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I'm going to dive deep into why I didn't feel worthy of spending thousands of dollars on myself just because. Just because. Why are we always trying to find a reasoning of why we deserve to invest in ourselves? It's quite simple, really, because we have seen that in the past. We have seen our caregivers do that. We have seen society say, why are you buying that? Why are you doing that? People go and buy a ute when they, turn 40, or they, buy a beach house when they've made money, and they have to work their asses off before that they can deserve it. And that is kind of this point of view that we've taken on as a society. So I had to go, okay, so what can I shift and change within myself to know that I'm worthy of money and spending money and buying whatever the fuck I want just because I am? What can I shift? So I sat there and I just literally went to a 16-year-old again and was like, oh my God. I remember when I first was starting to, consider moving out of home. I was about 15 then, and I moved out just when I turned 17. And it was hard, it was hard to survive. And it was really hard until I was probably about 35 when I started doing all this manifestation stuff and seeing it actually happening. I thought I was always doing manifestation, but the truth was I wasn't really. I was not really, because there was always an underlying, I am not worthy just because. I have to prove myself before I can show that I'm worthy. I've got to prove myself that I'm a good person. I've got to prove myself that I work my ass off. I've got to prove that I am good in God's eyes. I've got to prove this and do this and do this and do this and do this. And because I failed at school, and because I fucked up a couple of different times, I always went into guilt and kind of feeling of I'm just not worthy. I don't value myself as a human being because I haven't proven that I'm valuable. So let me know if this is making sense for you guys. So I'll get to my story. So all of that stuff was the wider feeling, right? This is the wider big feeling. So I had to bring it in and niche it down to figure out what these feelings were. Oh, well, I'm looking after children and, we're having this great time. And then I was like, I really want to buy myself a pair of Doc Martens. I really want to buy myself a pair of Docs. They're $399. Oh my God, $399. I could not possibly spend that type of money on myself, even though I've wanted a pair of Doc Martens for 21 years, since I was 16 years old. So I said to my sister, maybe, I wonder if I could just go try a pair of Doc Martens on. Like, they're so expensive. I don't know what my husband will say, and I'm already spending so much money going away, and I just don't know if I'm worthy of getting a pair of Doc Martens. So I went into the shop because I'm very curious about feelings that I have and why I'm having them and where the fuck they came from, because clearly I know that I'm worthy of highly being compensated and I know my value. But I wasn't functioning from me. I was functioning from 16-year-old Victoria. The 16-year-old who did not know her worthiness or her value. The 16-year-old who was starting life out and going, I've got to go prove in this big world that I am worthy to be paid $6 an hour as a hairdresser for 3 years. That I am worthy of people wanting to get their hair done because they want to spend time with me. I'm worthy of being someone's friend. So I will overgive and I will do whatever I can and give them everything I can, including my last dollar, to show that I am worthy of being seen. Now, of course, there's a whole lot of underlying reasons why I may not have felt worthy. Maybe it's because I'm from a big family. Maybe it's because we didn't have any money. Maybe it's because I failed at school. Whatever, right? That's kind of for me to go and journal on. But when it came down to these Doc Martens, I went in and I tried them on, and I took my sister with me and she was there for moral support, and I felt quite emotional and I felt quite young and insecure, and I was like, whoa, this is really interesting because, you know, as a 37-year-old now, I'm feeling pretty confident within myself and I'm working on myself every day, right? Because I believe in being a coach with integrity. I believe in working on myself to, you know, there's no destination. It's a journey, like I said at the very beginning of this life. And then I tried these boots on. I said, I love them. I really do love them. But what if I don't wear them? Oh my God, what is my husband going to say? $399. I don't know if I can spend that. And my sister goes, you've wanted these for so long. Why don't you just get them? They look great. And I was like, oh, but what if people judge me? And this is kind of what I was thinking in my head. And I felt all these feelings. And then I said to her, I feel guilty. I feel guilty for spending this type of money on myself. The interesting thing was, I wasn't feeling guilty for spending 60 grand on myself last year for coaching. I didn't feel guilty for getting a boob job and spending $15,000 for that. There might have been a tiny bit there, but it's so far-fetched. It was so like such a big amount of money that I was just like, no, I'm worthy of this because I want this, because I breastfed for like however many years and it's something that I want, you know. And the interesting thing was, when it came down to a few $100s, which I could afford, I went into guilt, I went into trauma, and even right now, because I'm still going through this emotion, I picked up this point of view that I was like a 16-year-old and I had not yet earned the Doc Martens. The interesting thing about it is I had bought boots in the past that cost probably $500. I have had Botox ones, which cost $600. I had a boob job that cost $15,000. I've bought new cars. Well, not new cars, but new cars to me, and I'm currently in a new house. So why wouldn't I want to spend $399 on myself? And it was simple, because there's a part of me still playing out from being a teenager in scarcity, from seeing scarcity growing up, for, you know, having to get the cheaper shoes instead of getting, you know, just the really nice pair of shoes in the shoe shop because there was 5 kids for money to go around. And I was very grateful for my upbringing, but of course I don't need to function from that anymore, because I'm meant to grow. I'm meant to change my reality and choose in the present moment, not from the past. The past will always dive you back into the emotions of the past rather than you functioning from the present. So when I came into the present, I tried on my Doc Martens and I said, I love them, I want them, what could I wear them with? And I went into the mode of, okay, you know, the practical mode. Will I wear these? Well, yeah, I will, because I can wear them with every set of clothes I have. They'll last me for years. Not that that matters, because I've bought boots for like hundreds before and they lasted 1 season. And because I just want to. And the thing is, you know, I feel quite emotional about this now, is when my husband comes home from hunting, because he's away, he doesn't know that I spent thousands on clothes and shoes and motels. He has no idea, right? And it doesn't matter, because it's my money, it's our money, I can do what I want. But I have to sit down and have a conversation with him about why I didn't feel worthy having Doc Martens. Because it wasn't about the boots. It's never about the fucking boots, and it's never about the money. It is always about, are you worthy of investing in yourself? Are you worthy? What is your value? What is your value here on the planet? How many of you are born and you say, oh yeah, I was an accident, I was a whoopsie days? How many of us are born and we think, our mum, we might have been like a whoopsie days, and your mum might have been young, or maybe, I don't know what your circumstances were. Like for me, it was like my mum was pregnant before they got married, and mum was Catholic. So there's that shame and a little bit of guilt probably. And how much of me has carried that around with me, which has actually impacted my worthiness and my value here on earth, because I was an accident or a mistake. And even though our mums love us, and even though all these things happen and we're living our lives, it doesn't mean you can't be a 37-year-old or a 45-year-old or a 75-year-old and still not know that your worthiness and your value came right back to that interesting point of view from when you were born and you felt the energy of, oh shit, what do I do with this thing now? I didn't want it. So I know that's kind of going really, really deep, but what is that? So every time you get a feeling, even though your mind goes, I deserve the new car or the new house or the Doc Martens or Botox or whatever it is you want, the coach, getting one-to-one coaching, right? Like I've invested so much money in coaching because I was able to see through the limitations of why I knew that I was worthy and deserved it. But $60K versus $399, I was more anxious about the $399. So that just proves that it's got nothing to do with the money at all. It is all about self-worth. And if you are functioning from the external to fill you up, these boots have got nothing to do with the external, which is really interesting. They're all about how I felt at 16 years old. And there's abandonment issues going on there, right? Like my parents didn't really care when I left. They're like, see ya. That's how I felt. It doesn't mean it was not true. It was true. It's about my husband going, I don't think you need those. Do you really need those? And I'm like, oh, you're right. I don't need them. So my conversation with him is going to be, it's going to be like this, right? It's going to be like, I need to tell you about why these Doc Martens mean so much to me, and where I was functioning from scarcity, and where maybe we are mirroring each other. So can we have a conversation about this, please? And how do you feel about that? Because he's my partner, and we are here to be wealthy and healthy. And if we keep functioning from the old past versions of ourselves and we're not cleaning up that energy and shifting it, then what actually happens is it comes up and it pops up in the most craziest places, even in a shoe shop. And I felt like a little girl when I said to my sister, I feel guilty for buying these. And she goes, why? And I go, I don't know. I've wanted them for so long. And, now I'm so happy I bought them for myself. And I bought a couple of $100 worth of clothes that made me feel good. And I even put clothes back because I was buying them because they were 75% off and I didn't love them. I just thought one day I'll wear this. So I started grabbing onto things because it was cheaper. And then I eventually went, fuck it. I'm buying whatever I want, even if it's full price. And if I want to go and have a dessert sent at 9:30 at night as room service, I'm going to do it. And if I want to go and go to a spa or get my hair done, I'm going to do it. If I want a lipstick, I'm going to do it. Now that sounds crazy because it doesn't fit into this reality, because everyone's like, go and do your budget and go do to-do lists, do pros and cons. But I say don't do pros and cons, because pros and cons are coming from your head, not from your heart and your spirit. If I went with my head, I wouldn't have even gone away for the weekend. I would have gone, right, better save my money for this, this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And I was like, no, fuck it. The biggest thing that is going to serve me right now is going to fill up myself and go journal. I journaled and I listened to books. I even did a little bit of studying at 6 o'clock in the morning because the kids were awake. And I did me. And I'm so proud of myself for doing that. So when you invest in yourself, whatever it is, whether it's time or money, whether it's whatever it is, celebrate it. Have a look at why you're investing in yourself and what that thing is going to give to you, whether it's short-lived or whether it's like a deep heart feeling. And I know these boots, it's crazy because it's not really about the boots. That there is going to fill my cup for a long time. And every time I look at these boots, I'm going to say, because I'm worthy, because I'm worth it, because I don't care if anyone else likes my boots. I like my boots. I keep looking down because I'm looking at my boots now, and I can't wait to show my husband and share this experience of worthiness. And he's the same with his car. He's got an RX-7 and he's been doing it up for like 15 years. And he's like, I need a few $1,000s to get my car running. It's more like $8,000. And I'm like, cool. Okay, what would it take for us to make $8,000? Because that fills him up, right? Where weekends away fills me up. So what fills you up? What fills you up? What expands you? And wherever you think you don't have the money to invest in yourself, I'm going to ask you this. Well, actually, I'm going to tell you this. It's not about the money. Because if you want to invest like $10,000 on one-to-one coaching, or $3,000 for a program, or going away, or doing whatever, right? That those things just resonate with me because I love self-development. So I invest a lot in myself. If you say, oh, I can't afford it, no, I can't do it. That is a cop-out. It's bullshit. It's because you don't want it. Because if you do want it, the thing you do is you go, I would love to have one-to-one coaching. I wonder what it would take for me to have one-to-one coaching. Okay, cool. I wonder what it would take to get $10,000 to buy that car, or to get that boob job because I've had, 5 kids and there's nothing left in there and I feel like that would really contribute to me. But instead of asking those questions, we go, no. Maybe one day. And I said maybe one day about those boots. 21 years it took me to get those boots. 21 years. How many pairs of shoes did I buy and not wear when I could have put them all into those boots? So it's just an interesting thing. Your relationships, your fights are never about the relationships. Your money stuff is never about the money. It is always about your worthiness and your value. So let me know what you think about this. This is a very non-linear, crazy live, but I did want to share this with you because to me, it's just a massive breakthrough. It's a breakthrough to go, I am worthy just because I am. And I don't need to make any excuses of why I bought boots or why I didn't years ago. It doesn't matter. I did it because I am worth it. And I can spend whatever I want, whenever I want, because I can. And because I'm choosing that, which means money will come and it will come and it will come and it will come. And I'm choosing that. So anyone that says, I just can't afford it, I go, well, you've actually just put a full stop to your dreams. Your dreams are available for you. These boots were a dream, okay? They could have been $3,000. In fact, I'm spending like $4,000 on my business this week. Last week, I spent $2,500 on this computer that I've got, which I'm not using because I'm using my cell phone. How ironic is that? And like huge amounts of money are going out, and I have zero evidence that I can afford that because I just know that the money is going to come, and I know that I'm worthy of greatly being compensated just for living and just being. So how would your life change if you function from that? You didn't function from the trauma and the drama of the past or the worthiness of what you think you are worth. Instead, you went, you know what? I'm choosing what I want to choose. It's time to function in your zone of genius, not just what you think you should be doing. In fact, what you really, really desire to do. Now, I'm going to give you a really quick example of this as well, and I'm going to do another session on this, but I functioned in my zone of excellence for 20 years. I was an excellent hairdresser. I was excellent. I think I was really good. Like, I gave people what they wanted. They were satisfied. They probably got a coaching session and a healing while I was there. I was even considering doing hairdressing with, mediumship attached. And then I had to swap out and start coming to my zone of genius because it was overtaking the hairdressing. So the point is, my zone of excellence was a hairdresser. I had my own salon. I was considering buying a salon in the city and managing people because I'm great at doing that type of stuff. I'm great at being my own boss. I love what I do all the time. Everything I do with passion. But then I had to drop what I was really good at so I could do what I was fucking brilliant at. And that is my genius, which is sharing about consciousness and mediumship and spiritually aligned. So by dropping my excellence was dropping an attachment of all of the past things. I was grateful for it, but my body started breaking down. All these things started happening, so I couldn't do it anymore. I created all of that. That is how incredible I am. That is how incredible you are. You create everything. There's a gift in everything. So then what I did was what I did and what I'm doing is I'm functioning from my zone of genius, which means I've got magnificent mediumship, I've got Release Your Blocks program, and I've got this incredible group, and I love it. I love every moment of it. It's like, those lollies when you put it in your mouth and it goes pop, pop, pop. It's like crackle pop. Like, it's delightful. That's how I explain my zone of genius. Before, it was just like sucking a lollipop. It was great, but you kind of get like sick of it and you're like, oh, just keep going because I'm really good at it. It's about functioning from who you are and showing up. And it's the scariest thing that you've ever done because it's the easiest thing you've ever done. And your worthiness and your value might just be whispering in your ear and go, you know what? Like, I just don't know if you've done enough work to get paid to do that because it's so easy for you. And everything that you've seen in this past has shown you that life isn't easy because you've seen this person, this person, this person, this person. Oh, and the whole world struggle. Right? So no wonder we don't function from the present and go, well, if I function from my zone of genius, that means I do A, B, C, D, and I'd have a living, and joyful, and have a great relationship. Well, I couldn't possibly be happy on all areas because like all of these people didn't. And that's where you can be the change. It is time to really propel yourself, choose consciousness, align to yourself and go, what is my genius? It's a thing that is right in front of you. And the way that you figure that out is by journaling. What is my genius? What do I love to do? Like, what do I love to do? I've got some mind maps. I'll pop them into one of the units for you guys so you can go and do some mind maps on, areas that you want to play with. Please remember that the external of what people want, especially for generators and in the disc, the C's, like the professor energy where they have 3-time convincers, which we're gonna, I'm gonna do some training with you guys on that soon. If you're functioning from the external and what other people want instead of what you want, then that's not it, right? So you're here to serve others, of course, we all are, to be a contribution to each other, but it's about what would light you up. How would you love to live? Visualizing that, feeling that thought like 3 times a day, and then start manifesting it. And that's how I manifested the dream house that I'm living in. I love it. It's not my forever home, but I love it. My dream business, which is always morphing and growing, and a fantastic fucking relationship with my family, with my friends, and especially with my husband. So thank you so much for joining. I hope you got something out of this. You may want to re-listen to this because I have just thrown a whole lot of consciousness and mindset at you guys. Flowing so much love to you, and I will see you soon. Bye.
And that's a wrap for today. Thank you so much for joining the Release Your Blocks podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love to hear from you. So please leave a review and tell me what your favorite takeaway from today was. There is so much more from where this came from. You can also find me at Holistic Energy Shifting on Facebook, where you can find more content, more coaching, and more guidance. Have a grand and glorious day, and I'll see you next time.